Now let's start with our first course, that is ethical hacking. Okay, so what is ethical hacking? Well, some experts have written that there is no such word like ethical hacking because hacking will never be ethical. While on the other hand, some experts suggested that performing hacking with all required permissions from the owner is called ethical hacking. Okay? Now, if you don't assume that ethical hacking exists, then what is the whole process called? Well, it is called as penetration testing, right? But for now, we have to assume that ethical hacking exists, right? Now, what is hacking? See, hacking simply means illegal intrusion. Okay? Now, what are the phases of ethical hacking? See, there are 6 phases of ethical hacking. Okay? Sorry, phases. Now, if you search on the internet, you will find this image. Okay? It's mentioning that there are 5 phases of ethical hacking. Okay? We will see the 6th one at the end of this lesson. Now, we will start with reconnaissance. Okay? It's also called as footprinting. Okay? Footprinting means gathering information about your target as much as possible. Now, we can collect information in 3 different parts. First, network. Second is host. And the third one is people involved. Right? So, footprinting is of 2 types. First is active, another is passive. Active means directly interacting with your target to gather information. Example, we can use some tools like Nmap to scan our target. Okay, so that comes under active scanning. Sorry, active footprinting. Now let's talk about passive footprinting. Passive means trying to collect information about your target but without directly interacting or without directly accessing the target. Okay, for example, it involves collecting information from public websites and social media platforms. Okay, now comes the second step, that is scanning. So mainly 3 types of scanning is involved. First is your port scanning, another one is vulnerability scanning, and the third one is network mapping, right? So port scanning means scanning the target for information like open ports, live systems, okay, and other things like which operating system it was running on, etc. Then comes the vulnerability scanning. It means checking our target for weaknesses, okay, checking for the weak points of our targets. We generally use some automated tools to perform this practical. Okay, then comes the network mapping. Network mapping means finding out the network structure, that is topology. Okay, we will find out topology of network. We will also find information like routers, firewalls and servers. Okay, now the third is gaining access. Gaining access means entering into your target system or entering into your network or entering into your targeted website. So the part of entering, okay, this comes under gaining access. Now after entering into a system, we can gain administrator privileges so that we can install applications which we need, right, in order to modify our target's data. Then comes the maintaining access. See, maintaining access is very important because the longer the time you are into your target system, the more you can gain information, the more you can steal information from that target. Okay, right? Now we can done this, okay, we can do this using trojans, rootkits and other malicious files, right? Now comes the 5th phase, that is clearing tracks. See, no thief wants to get caught, right? So it is important to clear all the evidences. Okay, So what we do in this phase? Well, we will clear logs, okay, or we can modify some registry values, or we can uninstall applications that we have installed earlier in order to maintain access, or we can hide such applications, right? So this is how we can clear our tracks. We can do this in two ways, either manually or by using some automated tools like audit, poll, etc. Okay, now comes the last phase, that is report writing. Okay, it is important for an ethical hacker to maintain a report so that we can present this later to the management. Okay, so this is the sixth and last phase of ethical hacking. I hope now you understand what ethical hacking is and what are the different phases of ethical hacking, right? Now let's talk about types of hackers. If you search these words over the internet, you will find that some companies are claiming that there are 4 types of hackers and some are claiming that there are 8 types of hackers. But let me tell you one thing, there are 3 main types of hackers, right? The first one is white hat. Okay, white hat are ethical hackers. They perform hacking with all the required permissions in order to protect their organization from black hats, okay, or from any external threat, right? So these are considered as good guys. Okay, then comes the second, that is black hat. These are the hackers which perform hacking in order to harm someone, in order to destroy their targets, okay, with any reason, okay, for any reason. They can sell your information by stealing your credit card information over the internet, right? So such type of hackers come under black hats. Okay, now comes the last, that is gray hat. Gray hat is a combination of white hat and black hat. Suppose any company hired a hacker in order to steal their competitors' information. Okay, so such hackers are come under the category of gray hat. So I hope now it's clear to you that what are white hat, what are black hats, and what are gray hat, right? So there are mainly 3 types of hackers. Okay, before starting our hacking practicals, first we have to configure the networking for our virtual machines. As you can see, by default it is selected to NAT network, okay, which is not good because it means all of our virtual machines are sharing the same IP address, right? So to change this, we have to select NAT network, right? As I am going for NAT network, it's showing me NAT network as a name, right? Because VirtualBox automatically created this network, right? But sometimes it won't. Okay, you will see nothing here. So in that case, what you have to do is go to File, then Preferences, go to Network and click this icon, okay, which says adds new net. As you click this, see there is a new network created, right? And to remove, click this, right? Then click OK, come again, and now you will see a list of all of the NAT networks that you have created, right? So this is the perfect option for networking. Now what's happening behind the scenes? See, after selecting NAT network, all of our virtual machines thinks that our host machine, that is my physical machine, is a router, right? By choosing NAT network, my physical machine will act as a router for all of my virtual machines, okay? Because virtual machines cannot directly access to my actual router. So this is how we can configure our networking. Now let's start with our first lesson of ethical hacking, that is footprinting or collection of information. So this is the very first step of ethical hacking, that is we want to collect data or information about our target as much as possible. Okay, the more we collect info, the more are the chances that we get hacked into our target, right? But before starting with footprinting, let's understand what a network is. See, in simple terms, connecting two or more devices is called a network, right? Now, either you accept or not, each of us are connected via networking in our day-to-day life, right? If you are using your smartphone and accessing the internet, that is a networking. Okay? Now let's understand a basic structure of networking. Suppose we have three clients. Client 1 is your computer system, client 2 is your laptop, and client 3 is your smartphone. Right? Now we connect all of these three clients in order to share any data or resources. Now suppose our resources is the internet, right? But these three cannot access internet directly. Okay? They need an access point for that. So access point is your router, or we can say it as a modem. Okay, so if any of these client want to access the internet, first they have to access this modem, and then this modem send the request to the internet. Okay, so how it works? Suppose client 1, that is our computer system, wants to access facebook.com, right? So first it has to send this request to the modem, and then modem forward this request to the internet, and then internet reply to your modem, and then from modem to your client, right? So this is how a basic networking works. Now data are transmitted into packets in a network, whether it is a wired network or wireless. In our case, we suppose that it's a wireless network, right? So data is transferred in packets over the air, right? Over the air. So as a hacker, we can intercept all of these data, right? We can capture those packets and then we can read the data. Okay, so we will see how to do that. As a professional ethical hacker or pen tester, the first step is to check reachability for your target, right? So we will check the connectivity between you and your target. Okay, let's see how to do that. First of all, let's open your Windows virtual machine and open your command prompt, and let's check the IP. So 10.0.2.7 is the IP address of my Windows 10 virtual machine. Okay, now let's switch to Kali. Let's check its IP. If config, and it is 10.0.2.4. okay, so let's check the connectivity between the two. So ping 10.0.2.7. okay, it's not showing a reply because the firewall is turned on, right? So let's switch to window and turn off the firewall first. So go to control panel, select Windows Firewall, click OK. And now let's switch back to Kali. Let's try one more time. See, now it's pinging. Okay. Now let's do the same thing for the Kali also. So ping 10.0.2.4. See, it's connected. Okay, it's saying reply coming from this IP address. This is the size of the packet, and TTL means time to live. Now what if your target is a website? In that case, we will use ping and the website name, for example facebook.com. Okay, so this is the IP address for this server on which facebook.com is hosted. Okay, now there may be possibilities that a single server can hold multiple websites. Okay, so we can't assume that Facebook is the only website that is running on this server. So for all that websites that are running on the same server, this is the only IP. Okay, so if you ping any other website hosted on the same server, you will receive the same IP. Okay, so this is the IP for the server. Now the next step is to find out the maximum frame size, okay, or the maximum packet size that we can send to our target. Okay, because you can read here that the by default packet size is 32 bytes. Okay, so let's find out the maximum packet size, and to do that use ping target name, okay, frame, and define the length. For example, I will try 100 bytes first. Okay, yes, we are receiving a reply. Now let's increase the packet size to 500. Okay, now let's increase it to 1500. See, now it gives an error. It says packet needs to be fragmented. Okay, so let's reduce the size. Let's say 1300. Okay, we will receive a reply. Now 1400. Yes, it's working. Now let's try 1450. Okay, now let's increase it to 70. Still we are getting reply. Now let's try 80. Okay, so 72. See, 1472 bytes is the maximum size of a frame we can send to our target. Okay, so now we have this maximum size. Now as we can see, when we ping to facebook.com, we are getting a reply, right? But we don't know the actual path. Okay, we don't know the actual path of our packets, right? There may be multiple hops, or there may be multiple points or multiple routers in between you and your target. So to get a list of all of them, we use a command called tracert. Okay, and the process is called trace route. Okay, so tracert is a command line utility, or should I say is a network tool which help us to determine the path of our packets transmitting from you and your target. Okay, so to know the detailed path, we use tracert command. So tracert and the name of your target. Okay, now it says tracing route. Okay, and it will show over a maximum of 30 hops. Okay, see, this 10.2.1 is the IP address of our NAT network. Okay, and then we will getting 192.168.1.103. This is the IP address of my modem. Okay, then we will getting this 100.72.224.1 is another router, and it's showing time here. Okay, total time taken. So let me pause this video for a while because it is going to take a little bit time. The process has been completed, and you can see there are total 17 hops. Okay, so a packet is traveling from these points which comes between my PC and my target facebook.com. Okay,